Okay guys, in this video I wanted to have a look at some more lights in Maya and also explore a different render engine. So in this scene I've just whacked in a spotlight now. So I've got two lights in my scene. I've got an ambient light over here. If I can just find it, there we go. And I can change the intensity of this to sort of make an overall impact on my scene. So let's just bring that over here. And then I've got a spotlight here. So a spotlight is like a torch, you know, it's like a directional light, so you can be rotating that and moving that, casting shadows more effectively. If I go to create and lights, this lives up here, so we've got spotlight and a point light. Let me render this scene, so I'm going to go to render view, and I'm just going to do Maya software and hit render. And you can see what it's doing. So that spotlight and the point light that I've put in there, they're quite strong, they're quite intense. So if I bring those down, just bring the intensity down a little bit of the spotlight and the point light, just quick find it, bring the intensity down on that as well. Let's see what impact that has on our scene. Where am I? Just there, render view, hit render. There you go. So you can see that the spotlight is applying it here. We've got the point light that is reflecting off this material here. Now the Maya software renderer is okay. It's pretty good. There is also another engine in here called the Arnold renderer, and Maya has moved to this and in recent years. It's capable of much more complex renders. So if I change this engine to Arnold renderer and hit the render view, it's taking a little bit of time to just process that wall texture, and it's rendering out. Now the noticeable difference you'll see straight away is that it's very dark. The difference is that it's much more responsive to light, so we have to accommodate for that. And if you want to create images, you have to make sure that you are increasing the intensity of your lights or placing more lights within your scene. The results though will be much nicer. They'll be very realistic, beautiful renders. You'll notice them straight away though, they're taking much longer. So what I'm going to do is just play about with the intensity of the lights to make sure that the Arnold renderer can read those, and you'll see a noticeable jump in quality. So if you're after really top-notch renders for your objects, have a go at using the Arnold renderer, but be aware that you need to increase the intensity of your lights and place more lights within your scene to really benefit from the render engine. You can see straight away, you know, there's the shadows are more realistic, the light has a fall off, there's much nicer reflectivity on our blend material here. See, it's casting a shadow on the box. All of those things weren't achievable with the Maya software renderer. On the downside though, you can see it's taking quite a while to render. So once this is finished, I'm going to save a JPEG, and I will increase the intensity of the lights a little bit, and also I'm going to just experiment with putting an ambient light in here to see what difference that makes. So let's do save image, render 4, hit save. Okay, let's add in one more light, and this time I'm going to add in a ambient light, and this is going to be almost like sunlight in the scene. So if I just bring that in, and I'm going to change the type to a sky dome light. Okay, now the sky dome will work very much like in Unity. It's like a light that is almost like the sun. Okay, if I just bring the intensity up slightly and just change, you know, you can change the color. So if you're after a kind of, you know, alien planet or like a Mars kind of thing, you can, or really like intense sunlight, you can do that as well. So it's quite nice. Bear in mind that that will have an impact on everything in the scene. So let's just zoom in a bit more and rotate, and let's see how long this takes to render. So on a renderer, Okay, straight away you can see it's a lot brighter because we've put that ambient light in there, and that is going to have an impact on the other lights in the scene as well. So what you could do is bring the intensity down maybe on the ambient light, bring the intensities down a little bit on the spotlight and the point light, and you'll start to see much nicer shadows in there. You'll also notice that you see how the resolution, we've got a little bit of noise on our image, and that is to do with the quality of the image. So we can change those settings again to make that even higher, but bear in mind, look how long this is taking to render, and it will have an impact on your render times. I've not had much of an experimentation with the PCs in college, but on my Surface Pro, you know, it's fairly decent spec, and it is struggling a little bit to go through this. So it's important that you make sure that you're saving your work before you hit the render, and that you're tweaking the render settings, the lighting settings, so you're not sort of playing about with black images and then hitting render and it's taking 5 minutes to render, and you're like, oh, for God's sake. So just be aware of that. So you can see how much impact that's had on the Blinn material. Real impact on there, and we're kind of losing the effect of the point light and the spotlight as well, because our ambient light is probably a little bit too strong in intensity. So you will find that it's a bit of to in and fro in, tweaking your lighting settings, moving your lighting a bit, and going backwards and forwards when you're using the Arnold renderer. The effects though, once you do experiment with this, are pretty good as well. You know, if I wanted to make this transparent, I could add the transparency to my Blinn, and you would get the reflection. You could you can change the reflectivity of your objects and make them almost shine and glow using the settings on the material. So there's lots of experimentation to be had with this. So I'll just save the image as well. Call this render 5. Hit save. Okay, in the next video I'm going to show you some other shaders and maybe have a little bit of a play with making objects glow.